songs are like, you know, for me they're just like observations.
Elvis's Blue Suede Shoes made you sing when you were a kid.
Yeah.
After that song, did you become did you listen to more music of him?
I was never really an Elvis Presley fan. I just really liked that song. I think, you know, I grew up in the forest on the outskirts of Melbourne, and music to me came in like sort of like dribs and drabs. It was very random, and it was like I would hear Blue Suede Shoes, then I would hear sort of Prince, like Diamonds and Pearls, and then, you know, just a lot of kind of like commercial R&B music, to be honest. When I was like 10 and 11, that was like just what I liked when I was a kid. And then I guess, you know, as I got older, I sort of just started listening to more music, you know, like as anyone does as a kid. And I think that it was probably Stevie Wonder had a really big impact on me. And the Beatles definitely had a huge impact. And then it was like Jeff Buckley, Faith No More. I mean, really, it was a whole bunch of stuff. I remember being obsessed with Devo for, like, you know what I mean, as like a 14, 15-year-old kid, and I would try to learn all their songs on the guitar, like Girl You Want, do 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 do. Like it was really that random, you know. And I think that through that kind of almost naivety, like I was never like all that affected by kind of, you know, what was like cool at the time to listen to. I was just listening to music that I thought sounded good. And I think that kind of ended up, you know, creating this whole situation that happened when I was making the album, of this kind of, you know, subconscious, you know, sort of drool that was coming out when I was writing a song, like little pieces of different influences from everywhere that I didn't really plan on them coming out, but they did, you know. And that's sort of where a lot of my music, you know, some people make music that's kind of like directly like influenced by a certain thing, and that's and they kind of craft this sound and this picture of what they want it to sound like in their head. Whereas with me, I really love the kind of the accidental way of writing songs, and sort of really just putting down whatever comes out, and if it's good, it's good, and if it's shit, then it's shit, you know what I mean? And I think it's that kind of mentality that I've always had, you know. So that's sort of how Love and War came about, you know, through that process.
Yeah, we have 2 minutes left, but I still want to know something about it. You have the single Change running on the TV stations here right now. We also make some items about certain songs, so maybe can you start telling what's the story behind Change?
Yeah, Change. Well, it was. I saw a guy who was like, I was up on the fire escape of Alito Records in New York, and the first lyric from the song, I saw a dried up river and a rich man turning on a garden hose, is actually because I was looking down and seeing this guy in the middle of summer on a New York street hosing down the pavement outside of his building for like literally, you know, 2 hours straight. And I just thought it was a disgusting waste of water, and that's where that lyric came from. It's really just a story. You know, songs are like, you know, for me they're just like observations. Like I'll observe, like I'm a people watcher, you know, and I'll observe something and then write it down. That song really is just kind of me venting a whole lot of stuff I was feeling at that period of time, which was that lead up to, you know, Barack getting elected. It was the election time, that, you know, and that song was sort of just like me venting a whole lot of different issues, you know, that I think, you know, at the end of the day, like, no one knows any more than anyone else. We're all kind of like taking a stab in the dark, but, you know, I think it's good to sometimes talk about that kind of stuff, you know, and that's why I wanted to write that song, you know. And then Wale was on it, you know, we're label mates, we were sort of on tour together for a long time, and that was definitely very, like, you know, a contentious issue for me. What he talks about in that song as well is, I mean, it's kind of genius. His verse is kind of genius. He kind of flips the word change around to mean literal change. But yeah, it was just kind of something on my mind at the time, you know.
Is that something that is also maybe a reflection from your past that can come up in lyrics as well?
Definitely. I mean, I think, you know, that a lot of my music is you know, a lot of it is very is like based on these sort of, you know, these memories that have kind of over time been, you know, become almost sort of even more romanticized or more kind of euphoric than probably when they happen, you know. And it's that kind of like taking those memories and then sort of embellishing them into a song. And I guess that's where a lot of the songs come from.
Yeah. Last question. Can you remember where you wrote the first acoustic version for that song? For Change. For Change.
Yeah. I wrote the first verse in the Andaz Hotel. No, sorry, the second verse in the Andaz Hotel and the first verse on that fire escape looking over onto when the guy was on the thing. But I actually wrote that with a good friend of mine, Andrew Wyatt, who's now in a group called Mike Snow. And he's a good friend of mine, and he came up with that riff in the doodle 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 and those chords in the verse, and then it was kind of like, and then the melody kind of came sort of naturally after that. So it was you know, that was the other thing about the album. Like I had a lot of fun like writing with my friends. Like Andrew Wyatt, I wrote For Your Money with him as well on the album, and he's just like a brilliant pianist, and it's amazing sort of working with incredible like musicians. Like I could never play, you know, the piano as well as that. I could never play the guitar as well as that, you know. So it's amazing to be able to sort of collaborate and like come up with stuff together, you know what I mean?
Thanks for your time.
No worries.